Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be listening to me. Let's talk about sex. I've been talking about different things in relationship, but I've never taken time to talk about sex. And this is by popular demand. A couple of my friends have been disturbing me from last year. Okay, talk about sex, talk about sex. And I know the reason. I've had discussion with a number of them, guys, a number of them, men, married men, and we know what some men face in their marriage. So, apart from the character of the woman or of the man, apart from poverty, lack of good sex is one of the things that cause big problems in marriages. Please click on the subscribe button if you are yet to subscribe to my channel. So listen to this. So a typical man, let's say between 25 and 50, wakes up 90% of his time in the morning wanting sex, compared with a woman who probably about 10 to 15% of her time, mainly maybe during her ovulation even. So men definitely want sex or need sex more than women. And it's not about calling, even without you calling your spouse in bed. It's a man, we just need it. That is the biological nature of man. The good thing is that a typical husband or a typical man won't mind getting it from his wife about 100% of the time when he wakes up and wants it. That's if his woman allows. And regardless of if the woman has 10 children or so, he still wants his wife when they wake up together in bed. But such a man, because he doesn't want to feel embarrassed or he knows the response he will get from his wife, rejection, since she is the gatekeeper of the sex, excuses. So he overlooks his biological feelings. He gets up most times, usually unhappy. Sometimes he even prays with the family, set up to go to work. But let me tell you something, ladies. You have set up your husband to have extramarital affairs. You may have your own opinion. I'm talking to you from the point of a man. So make it not be like say I hide my face. Women, I need you to listen to this. Men, now make I talk this, and it's real. I'm thinking it's something that we really need to discuss. A few years ago, I was hanging out with my friends. I traveled and I was in this hotel, and a couple of my friends came to greet me. We were like 5 on the table, just hanging out and gisting. One of my friends was complaining about his experience with his wife, how unhappy he was at that time. That initially when he got married, the wife was always allowing him to have sex and it was sweet. That's why he said it, and the marriage was sweet. All of a sudden, she got pregnant after like 6-7 months, and she just started locking up, started complaining that she doesn't want it anymore, giving excuses. As a man, he allowed her be. And this, my guy, is a spiritual guy. He doesn't do any of those nonsense outside, no extramarital affairs. But know what happened? One of my other friends organized a girl for him that night. It was later I got to know that's how I got into the act of extramarital affairs. 5 years into marriage. There was another on the same table who also told us that as at that time, 3 months, the pregnant wife had not allowed him to have access. And I asked, was it doctor's prescription? Was the pregnancy a delicate one? Or so he said, no. The wife just said she's not in the mood. But let's leave. Those are for pregnant women, right? For women who are not pregnant, it's also a big deal. You as a woman, ask yourself, when last did I initiate sex with my husband? When last? And what I mean by initiation is that you started it without your husband asking for it. You touched him and you ended up having cool sex with him. When last? Ask yourself. You hardly do it. You wait for the man to ask for it all the time. And sometimes you give him rejection. You need to think about this. If your husband will be truthful to you, and if he is not getting serviced outside, ask him, how many days in a month does he really feel like having sex? Ask him. If he's a normal man, a healthy man, I'm not talking about a sick man or an old man, I'm talking about between 25 and 40, 50, ask him. If he's the type that communicates well with you, he will actually tell you the truth almost every day. But because he knows the answer, the reaction he will get from you, he stands up and goes to work. So such a man is set up for side chick. We have different levels of self-discipline, but there's a limit to which self-discipline can also work. Self-control, while some have it abundantly, majority of men do not have it.
because we have blood running through our veins. And this is a biological thing.
In Nigeria, we do not have adequate data, but let's see countries where they have data. If you Google this, you will see that the baseline in which couples should have sex is like once a week. That's the baseline. If you don't have time, you are so busy, your children are not aligned, and that depends on the age anyway. But for you not to even allow your man to touch you for 3 months, that is wickedness in the first place. There are other statistics stating that a man should ejaculate about 21 times a month. That I may not believe, but that is cool because they said it lowers the risk of prostate cancer. That may be true, that may not be true, but this is a research study. And it's also good for you as a woman. Lighten up your mood, you feel better about yourself. This is another one from the US. 7% of American adults had sex once or twice in the last year. The problem is actually universal. And what I'm saying is that we need as much as possible to wake up this mood to have more sex in our marriages. If you love yourself and you love your marriage and you love your man, you need to improve on it.
So don't be deceived. Many of your husbands will not even open up to you what the problem really is. If you see that your marriage is beginning to have issues 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years after, maybe you should trace it to something like this. It may not be your character alone, because you may say, I'm trying my best as a woman, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But your husband is no more attracted to you and is misbehaving. But the good thing is that the problem is reversible. There's a solution to it. In most cases, there's a solution. We have proposed solutions. I have personally witnessed solutions in like 3 of my friends' marriages. And it worked. After talking to their wives secretly and telling them what to do, it worked. You set up your husband for extramarital affairs when you think he doesn't like sex. He is a man. He likes sex. Don't be deceived. If he's healthy, if he's a normal man, he likes sex. At least once or twice in a week, try to initiate sex. Be the one to start it. And it's simple. You don't need to say it out. I want sex. I want you. You don't say it. We don't want to hear it. Start touching him and hold his dick. Hold it and rub it till he rises up. That shows the man that you want him. A man doesn't want to feel that he is also unwanted. He will be the one to lobby for it all the time because you're a woman. No. Things have changed. You need to ask for it also. Make him look important. By that, you even put yourself in the mood. Then, other times or in other days, he can initiate sex when he wants it. But you have to work on yourself. If you do not enjoy sex with each other, there are solutions also. Talk, discuss about it, communicate. You will find solutions to it. Maybe you do not enjoy sex with him because he ejaculates fast. He's a 1-minute man, just like you say. There are solutions to this. Discuss it with him. If you try to initiate sex and he rejects you, always know that there's something wrong. You see that he's worried, he's anxious about something, maybe workplace or so. But usually that doesn't even disturb a real man, a healthy man. So the next thing is that maybe he's having it somewhere else. And he has tasted the forbidden fruit elsewhere, and yours is no more wanted because you allow it to linger for so long. But there's still solution. There's always a solution to everything because human beings are not that complex. Never make your husband beg for sex. Never. It doesn't make sense for husband to be lobbying for it and begging. I've had a friend of mine telling me he begs for it. It's an insult on the man. It kills the man's ego. It can even affect him in his workplace. So if you are not in the mood as a woman, there are better ways to decline. Don't say I'm tired. Don't say my body is paining me. And if your body is paining you, what's the cause of the pain? Be specific with where it's paining you. A man will not want to add to your pain. So I will suggest you say, maybe you have abdominal pain, maybe a lower abdominal pain. He won't want to add to the pain if he loves you. But not all the time. I understand you may not be in the mood. Pretend you have the pain seriously. Then he will understand that it's the pain and not your usual way of rejecting him. So I mentioned this earlier, but if you ever ever for once enjoy sex with your husband or your wife, then you can enjoy it again. I'm referring to women who probably may not be aroused by their husbands again, or maybe if you don't enjoy sex with him anymore. You can both work on yourself, talk to yourself, tell him what you need, tell him how you want it, tell him how you feel. A good husband will listen, but there are ways to also pass these messages, not by making him feel so low, because nothing kills a man like having the feeling that he's incapable of performing in bed. So you can see that at the beginning of my message, I was referring to early morning sex, because sometimes both couples can get tired at night. Even some husbands even sleep earlier than their wives. But early morning, a man wakes up wanting it most of the time. But when you spring out of bed before he wakes up, he doesn't even see you to touch. There's a big problem. So my point is, try to get in the mood early in the morning. It will make your day perfect, brighter. It will make your day better. The whole family is likely to be happy the whole day. That I assure you.
Also, click on the notification bell beside subscribe button to get my subsequent videos.
I mentioned earlier there is a solution to everything. For those of you women who think you are no more attracted to your husband, or for those of you women who have issues with your husband, that means your husband seems not to want you anymore. A married friend of mine, a female friend, called me sometimes in December, and we were discussing, and she was telling me that her husband had not touched her for like 4 months, and they sleep in the same bed. And I wonder why. And I told her what to do. And these were some of my recommendations. So let me tell you again. Because if a man doesn't touch you for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you are losing the husband. Your marriage cannot be perfect. The guy will go out and he can bring disease to you, because he will get it as well. Either you catch him or not. From someone even better than you in bed. Someone who will never reject him. So these were some of my recommendations to that, my friend. I told her, if you want to make your marriage work, first of all, this is not about the sweetness of your vagina, of your pussy. You are sweet the way you are. Either after 2, 3, 4, 5 children, you are still sweet. That's a good thing about it. Always sweet. And you are enough for your man if you know how to play your game right. Number 1, I told her to be strategic in initiating the sex, because she said she had tried a number of times before she gave up. You don't just talk to a man that, I want to touch me now, I want sex. You have not even been touching me, you have not even been having sex with me. Then you are nagging. You cannot use nagging to win your husband over. You can't, it won't work. So initiate it by caressing him. Everybody likes caress. Everybody likes being touched. And holding his dick. Yes, hold it, stroke it. Do things you don't do to him normally. If you resist, insist, continue. Then it will be hard if he's a normal man. There's no way it will not be hard. I mean, instead for you to be waiting for him to climb you, climb him. No matter your size, don't just be the weak type that will just lie down there and be doing I mean, it's boring. Climb your husband, whine your husband. Don't be afraid. Work on your body rhythm and your body movement in bed. Men like it. It works. Work on your rhythm, work on your movement. Don't just lie down. Work on your ringtone. I'm not asking you to pretend you are enjoying it, but you want the man to feel that he's doing a good job. Your ringtone matters. Not just But before you do this, make sure you smell nice. Make sure you are clean. Maybe change your perfume and have your bath. If he is a normal man and there's nothing else behind it, if this is the fundamental problem causing cracks in your marriage, I'm telling you, you can resolve it with this. All I'm saying is take initiative. Don't wait for your man to be the one to ask for it as if he's the one needing it alone. You need to learn to want to have sex with your husband. It is a must. You need to encourage him. You need to show him you want him and you need him also. Not only for money, not only for protection, not only for provision, but you want him, you want his body. That's my advice for you. If you like, hear. If you like, listen. If you like, obey. If you like, follow. Marriages are breaking because of this. And many times, we will not be able to link the major cause, the fundamental cause of the marital problem to this thing I'm discussing with you. Work on your marriage, work on your sexual life with your partner. Thank you for listening.